the actual sweep, storing the stuff that people didn't want to take in the first place, cleaning all that stuff. How much money is being spent on that? Because it seems like that money could be spent on building a box of public storage area. I see all these different public storage areas for people who have money, who have a house and want to put all their extra stuff in a box. How much money is being spent?
I have no idea how much money is being spent. I jotted that down, and I also wrote down your suggestion of what if we increased the number of storage that was available. Got it. Other comments, questions? Lisa, and then I want to go with you.
Well, I think I was after, so I can wait.
Go ahead.
Well, so just going on that, Councilman Silvaca has asked that same question. We have yet to get an answer. We want to know exactly how much this is costing. How much is it costing for law enforcement to be out there escorting public works? How much is it costing public works to be out there and their workers? How much is the trucks costing? How much is the disposal costing? All of those things, there's a cost to all of that, as we all know, and so we are yet to get an answer, so we are still waiting ourselves.
How long ago did you ask that question?
Oh, it's been a couple of weeks at least, if not longer.
Okay?
Now, of course, from a business standpoint, from a budgeting standpoint, from a financial standpoint, from a money standpoint, the addition of extra storage facilities for the homeless is actually a plus for the city of Denver. The reason why it is a plus for the city of Denver is because, one, if the homeless aren't carrying so many bags around with them, then they're not such an eyesore, which of course helps beautify the city of Denver, which of course brings in more revenue, more tourism, more tax dollars. So by giving us a place to store our belongings, it makes you more money in the long run. But two, by us not having to carry along those old ball and chains known as our luggage, our baggage, our things, it allows us to have time to go out and get a job, which again increases revenues by bringing in more tax dollars into the city of Denver, which of course allows us to be able to be more self-sufficient and purchase those hopefully soon-to-be feasible apartments that we're also joyfully hoping to look for once we get our rents under control. So again, by providing storage for us, it is actually a benefit for the city itself. Even if you were to say give them the storage for the first 30 to 60 days and then charge a minimum or nominal $5 a month, it doesn't have to be that big. Just give it to the size of like a storage locker. That way they could put things in. You don't have to worry about them sleeping in the spaces, but they wouldn't have to carry so many things. And please, when you're considering this, please do not put these storage facilities and units so far out that we have to catch the buses, because keep in mind that RTD has to deal with us transporting all of our stuff along with the riders of RTD. And of course, let's go back to money.
And drug dealing and using it for other things. So there has to be security so those belongings aren't getting stolen and they're being used for what their purpose is.
Okay. I want to segue into, I think, Luke, you had something you wanted to say about a proposal when it comes to storage on private property? And I think you shared the paper, so.
Yeah, I sent out this little handout. I didn't print enough off, unfortunately, but share with a neighbor. I think there's a few floating out there.
We'll put this on our website later. Just
Yes. So DECOL has been working on a locker initiative since 2017, when we put up just 4 lockers on business property that were used without incident for about a year and are continually being used at another location also without incident. And I want to promote this project and also clarify some of the things that it is and is not. So it is not the city's proposed lockers increase in shelters. This is something that we hope frees any individual entity, private business, resident, to freely provide lockers if they so choose. And the benefits of that are that they could be 24 hours accessible so that if you are a working person coming out of your service industry job at 2 in the morning, you do not have to go through the rigmarole of a shelter pass. Additionally, these would be not centralized with a shelter or a city entity necessarily, so it frees up some of the problems encountered with play, where you're constantly having to ID yourself and do a lot of footwork just to access the lockers. So that's what differentiates Denver Homeless Out Loud's locker program. It does dovetail with the city's lockers in that they're meant to protect people's property rights as guaranteed or stipulated in the lawsuit. So they are about protecting people's rights in the same way. Finally, we don't see this as a substitute for housing justice, for stemming runaway development, for stemming cozy relationships between developers and the city. It's not the same issue, but we do see it as a claim of city space that's not being used and that could be used for a dignifying purpose. So finally, I'll mention the thing about theft. I hear concerns about lockers. Oh, will things be stolen in them? We consider this a harm reduction enterprise, insofar as people already have their things stolen 7-8 times a year, creating total instability. To put them in a locker and to project that theft might happen maybe over the course of the locker's life is yards better than what people often experience already. So I'll just leave it at that, and I'd love to hear what other people have to say about lockers, and I know Victoria has something to say too.
I'm Victoria Whitsett, and I am the intern for the locker program that is going on with Red Line and DHO. I will be the person that will be monitoring the lockers. And what we're doing is we're interviewing people. It's not a paid thing, it's a 24-hour locker. People will be, it will be outside of the Red Line studios. We have 4 lockers that we will have there. They will be decorated by the person that is using the locker or artist. Also with this program, if we're trying to encourage people to come inside to do art, at lockers they have 24-hour access. They'll be monitored weekly, not where you have like a parole officer. I'm not going to be like a parole officer, but I will be there for people that access. If people have things that they want to do beyond having a locker, I will be there to give them information and help in any way that I can. I believe that this is very important. I was homeless about 20 years ago. For me to go to work and stuff, it was impossible because I would have to store my stuff outside in the bushes at work. And maybe or maybe not it would be there. So, I think that it's really important for the city to okay these lockers because we're not asking for anything we don't already have. We have the space, we have the lockers. We're not asking for money, we're not asking them for anything. Basically, other than to say, yes, okay, let us help people. This is very important. And I also believe and know that once we put these 4 lockers down, private entities will want to do this, because I think it's the right thing to do. Sometimes even though we look at things that are not done, when we look at them again, we know they're the right things to do. People have the right to have their property in a safe place. People have the right to be able to access their property 24 hours a day. We can go in and out of our doors 24 hours a day. So I think that, part of us as a city and as an entity as beautiful as Denver, Colorado, we need to do that. And we can do it if we work together on these lockers. So I am going to really be out here working and promoting these lockers, talking to people, talking to entities around the community, talking to private agencies. Because I think if we take it out of the city's hand and put it in private people's hands, it'll be done with more compassion.
And did you say earlier that all you really need on this is city approval? Is that what you're saying?
We're waiting for the city to say, okay, Red Line, I'm an artist at Red Line.
Okay.
We've had 4 people already lined up, 4 artists that are homeless, lined up for the lockers since September. So it's like, it's 4 lockers that have 4 people in them already. They're not installed,
They're ready to go.
but they're ready to go.
Okay.
And we have people to use the lockers.
City needs to issue a permit to make it so they can install them.
Okay.
Yes.
If they're Amazon,
Good question. 2 or 3 more minutes, so I need to be fairly quick with it.
All right, so when you guys talk about these lockers and installing them, regardless of what facet or what facility, what group's doing it, is there going to be a mitigation on what's needed and what's necessary property and what's useless property? Because this right here is everything I own. 2 pairs of clothes, some hygiene, and some shoes. That's it. And I know there's a guy sitting right in the Civic Center who's got 6 shopping carts full of bike parts. He shows up before me, he takes up the lockers, oh shit, I love it.
We take locker users based on 3 criteria. One is the connection to the area where the lockers are, their need and their willingness just to communicate with us. We don't stipulate what can be in the lockers besides firearms and drugs and alcohol usually.
You can't put your pet in there,
Yeah.
please.
They're also 48 inches by 15 inches by 15 inches, so you literally just can't, so everybody gets one locker. You
Can't put 6 grocery carts full of.
He sounds like an artist that by then, yeah.
So basically, the lockers are for your immediate purchasing stuff. What do I need to go to work today? What do I need to get to my appointment? You know, things like that. You know, we don't want your bike in there necessarily if you need to put your clothes in there. We want you to be able to have access to your stuff 24 hours a day. We want your important stuff to be there when you go to find it.
Your birth certificate, so it's
Your birth certificate, that's a wonderful place. It's going to be a place your stuff can dry. Nobody else has access to yours, but you, that's yours. You know, and you know, the
Well,
thing is.
that's what I'm asking, because you know there's gonna wind up being people that are gonna try to put useless stuff in these boxes and try to.
The thing is, once again, what we're saying is, it's not like for everybody in the world. Basically, like Luke was saying, people that are connected to the areas that we are working in, Red Line in that area. We're trying to get people that are connected with D-Hole, people that are connected with Red Line, people that have access to that area. We want you to come in and then, you know, we'll do the interviews and stuff and find out, you know, what you need past the lockers once you get a locker, if you get a locker. You know, we're trying to get lockers in different private areas around the city. That way more people will have access to them. You know, it's important. It's really important to us. It's almost probably, I think, more important to us sometimes than it is important to you because we want everybody to be okay. You know, we want you to have your stuff. We want you to know. I used to lose my ID all the time. You know, I couldn't cash my check sometimes because somebody had stole my backpack or because I had lost something. So, you know, I want to start working on helping that not be a problem. So, you know, help us.
Okay. Last 2 and then I'm wrapping up.
A general comment about the lockers. To me, I don't see other cities can have it both ways. They cannot have both a shortage of shelter beds. And to me, in every population group, there's a shortage. Whether it's single men, single women, or families. You know, you can't have it both ways where you have a shortage of beds for the homeless and a camping bed. Because if you don't have enough beds, by definition, people are going to have to be sleeping outside of the shelters.
Yeah,
And that is camping. So you can't have it both ways, to me. And the other thing is, I may have missed it because I came in late, but what's the latest on the tiny house movement and where is that in this conversation?
We did not address tiny house. Can somebody do that in 30 seconds or did we?
I can go in 30 seconds, I'm on the CDC board. So, Tiny House Village is expanding right now with 8 more units. They're in construction, should be done hopefully by the end of this month.